The most important event came first. The government's deed to the deactivated airbase was turned over to local officials who planned to convert the installation into an industrial park and education facility. But that wasn't what most of the crowd had come to see. What most of them had come for was the air show in conjunction with the transfer ceremony. The air show featured some of the nation's top stunt flyers, men who specialize in a sport called aerobatics. And this led one newsman to comment it was the only sport he knew in which the spectators could get a sunburn on the roof of their mouth, which automatically seemed to open as the face turned skyward. And the faces had to turn in a hurry to keep up with the glamour event of the air show, a demonstration by the Navy's Blue Angels in their 1,600-mile-per-hour Phantom jets. The Navy says its precision flight team has the world's best trained, most highly skilled pilots. And few in today's audience would have disagreed, as the Blue Angels roared over the old air base in formation so tight they sometimes allowed but 36 inches between the wingtips of each plane. Hardly the kind of thing seen around here when Perrin Air Base was activated back in 1941. To fly in planes like these might have been the dream of any of the cadets who trained here during World War II. But dreams change. And now the dreams for this facility concern educational and industrial progress. The only time this kind of activity will be seen here during the future is at the next air show. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
The young and the young at heart got together today at the 32nd anniversary celebration of the Texas Czech Day at the State Fair. 5,000 Czech Americans from all over the state and nation combined an old world culture with new world gaiety, with lots of good food, colorful costumes, and lively dancing. The celebration's oldest and snappiest dancer is 84-year-old Robert Duran, a Czech immigrant and local shoemaker. Duran, who came to America at age 19, told me he has never missed a celebration since it began. He also told me that the festival gives him a chance to meet old friends and make new ones.
I know many people, temple, and many different other places. They know me and I know them. I've been here 65 years.
The eldest may do a pretty good jig, but the youngest was not to be outdone. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is June Gray at the Czech Day activities at the State Fair of Texas.
That's the sort of thing that I, of course, want to be always cognizant of when we're talking in terms of people at home that are buying the insurance. And
it's competent enough for an insurance man that knows the business. If an accident, then you can just present that credit.
Mr. Hillier, what type of proposals are you expecting to come out of tomorrow morning's subcommittee?
Slivers up here. In fact, if I'm lucky, I will. In free fall, of course, you breathe just as normally as you do on the ground. I'll try to describe each man to you, and I have the number of jumps and the color of his shoes.
and then it's rumored that the governor will call us back into a special session again. Now, whether this is a wild rumor or not, no one at this time knows. I hope it is.
Do you feel the governor called the special session out of vindication to other candidates still running for office?
I don't really know the reason why he called the session at this time. We've spent, I imagine, well over $1 million already and have accomplished not one thing.
Is this going to hurt your campaign?
It could, because I need to be at home now passing out cards and asking people to vote for me. We've heard commissioners from Wisconsin, California, New York, Massachusetts, Florida, and several other states, Illinois, and not a one, Bob, of those states gave us any indication that the rates might go down.
Mr. Hilliard, how do you feel about Texas trying to legislate insurance in 30 days while some model states took 3 years to write their laws?
As you mentioned, Massachusetts spent 3 years on their code, and still they don't have the best code yet. And I doubt very seriously if anyone can write a good bill, a cure-all bill, in 30 days. It's just not possible to do it.
If there's anyone in this particular city that can come forth and say that we use any kind of forcible means, to get contribution from them, we would like them to prove it, because we're saying that it's a blatant lie, and we look at it as a bunch of buffoonery and just a circus. It's just a circus act, and we feel it's definitely an attempt to try and be rid of Mr. Gaines.
Mr. Gaines is the principal fundraiser.
Yes, he is.
And he's the one that goes and asks for donations from anyone, including like Perry Management Corporation.
That's correct. Like we will call, set up appointments, and talk to people about various projects we want to get involved with.
They have made donations in the past?
Yes, they have, and all of them have not been monetary donations.
Get the quarter for them. Illinois with that mustache.
There's no combustible material, anything other than probably a match.
There was no gasoline or kerosene found near the fires?
No, nothing of that nature was around there.
Do you believe that some students in your schools could have set the fires?
I don't really know. It could have been, but I doubt it. I think possibly outsiders.
certain circles to this. So I think that Agnes had a lot of useful things. I think we can throw in two more questions.
How are you, Mayor?
Good morning. Thank you.
Delightful to have you back in Dallas again. You're going to be talking today about the hope for our cities, and frankly, what do you see as the hope for cities like Dallas? And
This is typical of the buildings in Roosevelt Heights authorized for purchase today by the City Council. This is the house of Homer Fisher. Fisher will get $12,500 for his home. This will cover the cost of his property and will also pay for his relocation into a new house. Over here on Sunbeam, the property of Mrs. Frances Whitaker. The City Council has authorized $11,000 for the purchase of her property and for her relocation. The other properties authorized for purchase today are over on Toon Street. This is where Mrs. Hattie Mae Johnson lives, and for her property and for her relocation, the City Council also authorized a sum of $11,000. Mrs. Lily Thompson will get $11,000 for her home and for her relocation. Just across the street is the St. Joseph AME Church. The City Council authorized the purchase of this building for $11,500. Now, all the money for these relocations and for the purchasing of this property was approved by the city voters in Dallas earlier this year in the bond issue election, a total sum of about $2.5 million. But city officials point out that these people are under no pressure to sell their property and to relocate. They do so voluntarily. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
In Union Terminal in downtown Dallas, there's a train board that lists the latest train through the city, 1969. But it may not be 3 years before Union Terminal sees another passenger train. Amtrak's new Mexican connection will go through Dallas, as Amtrak Committeeman Dr. M.D. Monahan explains. I asked Dr. Monahan how the new route would affect Dallas.
You're looking at a line that could conceivably start in Montreal and come down through the northeastern cities and come over to St. Louis, down through Little Rock, and on through Texarkana to Dallas, proceeding on through the Dallas-San Antonio corridor and on to Monterey and Mexico City. This, of course, gives a boost to our convention efforts that we're putting forth here, trying to develop our convention center. And it also provides an opportunity for a lot of just simply general travel up and down the Dallas-San Antonio corridor.
As soon as the appropriations are released in Washington, it would be within 30 days that we could have people boarding trains from Dallas County. I believe that probably the first location from which they could take a train would be in Garland, Texas.
What do we know about Union Station here?
Union Station is in an advanced state of negotiations by the City of Dallas and the Union Terminal Company, the railroad line owners. Hopefully it will be resolved soon.
Your banker is not only concerned with loaning you money, but how to reinvest your money wisely for the future prosperity of both of you. Today's opening general session covered changing lifestyles, taxation, economic realities, and where rural America is heading. The keynote speaker was the mayor of Indianapolis. I stopped the Honorable Charles Lugar in the hall as he neared the podium for his presentation on Hope for Our City. Well, now, I know a lot of people, Mayor, feel that the inner cities are dying. We see a changeover in the racial balance in Dallas. Do you have this in Indianapolis?
Well, there has been certainly a dispersion of population in our city, but we've reorganized to try to encompass the real city within a city-county consolidation.
Well, can a city like Dallas, in your opinion, stop this flight to the suburbs?
Well, I think people will always move wherever they find preferable circumstances.
Well, the bankers aren't all worried about who's going to be the next president of the organization or the hope for our cities in the future. They're also having fun while in Dallas, as you can hear in the background. There are thousands of displays around us here in the Great Hall of the Dallas Convention Center. Also, have you ever wanted to talk back to your banker? You can do it now. All you have to do is get yourself employed by Paraphonics of New York. They've developed an online computer that doesn't give you the print back that you normally expect, but rather talks to you.
Balance, 1,301 dollars, decimal.
Well, that's entirely too many dollars for this reporter, but it's not a bad balance for whoever that account is on. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Superfly, slang for cocaine among users, is a story of a black New York City narcotics dealer. An action film made by black producers and actors tells of the last big narcotics deal before the principal character retires with $1 million in cash. It's showing at 2 movies in Fort Worth. Strong objections to the film were raised today by R.L. Livingston of the Better Influence Association in Fort Worth. At the city council meeting, Livingston said the movie is a bunch of trash and shows a black man as only being able to succeed by dealing in drugs. He asked the council to do something about it to prevent young blacks from being misled.
Now, I don't know what this council can do, but I'm bringing it to your attention because you are the city council of Fort Worth and you represent the problem-solving division here. And I hope that we can do this thing here without the citizens going up on their own to boycott such trash and filth in our community. If we're going to protest, it's going to be for the bettermentation of our community. And I certainly hope that this council can do something about the Superfly anyway.
I share your concern, Mr. Livingston. There is a limit to what we can do in the area of censorship. We have tried before, and the ordinances that this council has adopted in years past have been overturned by decisions of the federal court. This doesn't say that the council is not concerned about the problem, and we'd be glad to work with you and see if we could come up with something that would help regulate this. Frankly, I don't know what it is.
Livingston was told that the city council could do nothing about Superfly, that the federal courts had enjoined cities against censoring movies playing in town. However, the group may still have avenues open through the criminal courts, through statutes on the books dealing with public decency. Livingston says that if nothing else works, he and his group will picket and boycott Superfly and any other movies like it.
The Fort Worth City Council considered a recommendation by the city manager to increase the maximum accrual of sick leave from 90 to 120 days for city employees. The recommendation was made following a survey of 28 cities, and Fort Worth was found to be lacking in sick leave benefits for non-civil service employees. The council adopted the recommendation with one stipulation: current employees can accrue 120 days sick leave, but upon retirement or the death of an employee, he or she will receive pay for only 90 days. The council is also considering a revision in the ordinance controlling pool halls in the city. The new ordinance will govern the hours pool halls can remain open and restrict elementary and junior and senior high school students from playing pool in a pool hall before 4 o'clock in the afternoon on school days. Action on the ordinance change was postponed until next week. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
I thought you told me I was throwing the ball.
Happy about people getting involved because we're always worrying about their trade secrets and things like that. And, I don't think chemists are really very have attained a real professional organization.
Dancing is a big part of the Check Day activities. Showing the youngsters how to do a snappy polka is the celebration's oldest member, 84-year-old Robert Duran, a local shoemaker. Duran, who immigrated from Czechoslovakia at age 19, says he came to America because of the American dream of freedom and opportunity. Attending the celebration every year since its beginning, Duran says it helps keep the Czech culture alive.
Oh, we met our old friends and make a friends with new ones, and we're glad to see one another. Even people from all the part Texas. I know a whole lot of them now because I've been traveling some over Texas.
Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I'm not here electioneering. I'm here to talk to the American Chemical Society Dallas-Fort Worth section at the Marriott Inn Hotel tonight.
Pick us up at the door.
Okay.
This is what you call staging the news. Okay, we're gonna have a very short, I can put his light on right quick. What do you estimate the damages to be for this property?
That's the air conditioner. The workmen were handy. Real handy with the buttons.